There are two types of adults in the world: adults who go to Disney with their kids, and adults who go to Disney on purpose. No children, no excuse, just vibes. And if you've spent more than 5 minutes on the internet, you already know these people have a name: Disney adults. And according to the internet, they are either 1. Deeply joyful humans who refuse to let adulthood crush their souls, or 2. Emotionally unstable people who have strong opinions about popcorn buckets. Now, before this turns into a comment section war, I should probably disclose something. I may not be the most objective person on this topic because I have, as a fully grown adult, waited over an hour to sit in a log that plunges down a 52-foot mountain. And honestly, worth it. But that raises an interesting question. Why do Disney adults exist? Why do grown people with jobs, taxes, and occasional back pain spend thousands of dollars to visit a place primarily marketed with cartoon mice? And the deeper you look into it, the weirder the answer gets. Because Disney adults are not just some random internet phenomenon. They might actually be exactly the customers Disney secretly built the park sport. The internet loves to make fun of Disney adults. You'll see tweets like, "Imagine being 34 and going to Disney with no kids," or "Grow up," which is interesting, coming from the same internet that contains people who paint their bodies for sports teams, people who spend $2,000 to attend Comic-Con dressed as a wizard, and adults who manage fantasy football leagues like they're running NATO. But somehow, liking a theme park is the weird one, which honestly feels like a strange line to draw. Because if we're being honest, Disney is basically the sports stadium of nostalgia. People wear jerseys, people buy merch, people have opinions about which attractions are overrated, people form emotional attachments to specific rides. There are adults who will argue about Space Mountain versus Guardians of the Galaxy with the intensity of a Cowboys fan arguing about quarterbacks. But here's where things start to get interesting, because Disney adults aren't just passionate, they're incredibly valuable. And Disney knows it. The thing most people don't realize is that Disney parks were originally built for families. But over time, people who spent the most money there changed. And today, adults without kids are one of the most profitable groups in the entire park system. Why? Because kids are expensive. But adults? Adults buy things. Adults buy cocktails. Adults buy themed snacks. Adults buy $80 lightsabers. And adults buy $40 popcorn buckets shaped like a dragon. There are people walking around Disney World with enough merchandise to legally qualify as a small gift shop, and Disney leaned into this hard. Epcot basically became a global food and alcohol festival. There are now Disney bars, Disney lounges, Disney wine tastings. There are literally events where adults walk around drinking margaritas while slowly circling a giant golf ball. Which sounds ridiculous until you realize something else. Disney parks quietly sell an enormous amount of alcohol. In fact, Disney World reportedly sells millions of alcoholic drinks every year, which means somewhere on Earth, there's a full-grown adult tipsy on margaritas, taking a photo with a cartoon duck. And that might actually be the most accurate description of adulthood ever invented. Because economics isn't the only reason Disney adults exist. There's also something much deeper happening. And it has a lot to do with the modern adult itself. Some people don't like to admit adulthood today is weird. Most of life is emails, bills, work, laundry, the occasional existential crisis while standing in the cereal aisle. And nostalgia has become one of the biggest cultural forces in modern entertainment. Reboots, remakes, sequels, the same franchises from childhood being recycled over and over again. Disney figured out something incredibly powerful. Adults don't just want entertainment, they want comfort. A place where the music is familiar, the stories are simple, and for a few hours, the biggest problem in the world is whether the ride line says 45 minutes or 60. Disney parks are basically a physical nostalgia machine, which explains something else interesting. Many Disney adults aren't chasing childhood, they're chasing a break from adulthood. Which, when you say it like that, sounds a lot less weird. But there's still one question left. If Disney adults are so mocked online, why do they keep growing as a group? The answer is actually the most surprising part. Disney adults didn't just happen, they were engineered. Over the last 20 years, Disney slowly built entire experiences aimed directly at adults. Food festivals, after-hour events, specialty restaurants, collectible merch, run Disney marathons, luxury resorts, bars, fine dining, adult-focused attractions. They turned the parks into something bigger than a kid's destination. They turned them into a fandom ecosystem. And when you build a place that immersive, some people are going to love it enough to come back again and again and again. Which brings us back to the internet criticism. Because when people say Disney adults are weird, they're not entirely wrong, but they're also missing something. Adults have always had weird hobbies. Some people restore classic cars, some people memorize baseball statistics, some people wake up at 6 a.m. on Sundays to check fantasy football scores, and some adults go to a theme park where a mouse is legally the mayor. Honestly, that might be the least concerning one. Because in a world where adulthood means mostly stress, bills, and trying to remember your passwords, a place built around joy, nostalgia, and churros might not be the worst coping mechanism. So yes, Disney adults are a little strange. But if being an adult means you're supposed to stop liking things that make you happy, then maybe the weird ones aren't the people wearing Mickey ears. Maybe it's the people who forgot how.